Hey everybody, welcome to Brick Vault, and today we are reviewing the Roller Coaster set. Just a simple, easy name for what is an incredibly awesome and I think groundbreaking set for the LEGO company. And by the way, this set was sent to us by the LEGO group to do a review, so thanks a lot everybody for sending over this amazing set. We've been looking forward to putting it together for a long time. Ramon did it. I think it took him about 12 hours. I think he's a little slow. I was looking at it being like, man, I could probably do it a little faster, but really, this thing is a beast. In terms of its size, it's really big. There's a meter stick or a yard stick because we're in the States. It's pretty high too. It's big. It's a huge set, and I don't know if LEGO has created a set that is as big as this one in terms of the amount of space that it actually takes up. In terms of part count, it is the 8th largest set of all time, coming in at 4,124 pieces, and the set is retailing for $379.99 in the States, $299 in the UK, and anywhere from $329 to $349.99 in Europe. The euro might vary a little bit more outside of that, but essentially it is still a pretty positive part to price ratio. There are 11 minifigs total, but I will talk about those guys at the end of the video. I have a feeling you want to see the features of the set, and now you can see I'm operating the roller coaster manually. It really only needs to get going in terms of getting the minifigs up, or sorry, the coaster up to the top and around that corner, and then the whole thing slides down. It actually has a pretty long run time, and then you can switch out the manual functions if you'd like. Technically, the set doesn't come with its own motor. You'd have to buy that separately. So I took one out of our sand crawler that we're working on currently right now because we're pretty much out of motors, but here it's set up automatically, and really the only time it engages is right at the top. The whole thing slides all the way back through. It slides all the way through automatically where the minifigs would be loading and unloading different people. And now here is a closer look at basically all of the functions that you're ever gonna need. They all operate right here. I'm taking off the automatic motor, and that's the regular handle that you can use for this. If you spin it all the way around, I'm actually operating the function of the roller coaster, pulling it up to the top, going around the corner. It comes all the way back down, and then I put the stopper out, and the whole thing comes out. So you can actually pull back. There is the stopper. That is what pulls this little tire that can kind of allow the traffic to flow or to stop, so you can change out different minifigs for the coaster. And then that middle lever that I'm turning is what allows the coaster to push on through. So you don't actually have to touch the coaster in order for it to stop and then push through to the next level. This can be hooked up with the boost. It's the programmable little sort of, I think, like the easier version of Mindstorms. So this can actually be programmed with the boost automatically to do all of these different functions, but you do have the manual option, which is really nice. And also quickly, let's see what these roller coaster pieces look like. You got them from the Joker Manor set that was from the Lego Batman movie, but you have these little wheels. Actually took a bit of the coaster off. These red pieces that make up the coaster tracks can come off a little bit easily, especially when you're transporting it. But anyways, there's the underside. Not too complicated. In fact, very, very simple pieces all around. You can connect all 6 of the coaster pieces, but it does work best with just 3. Here's a better look at the loading section itself. Just as a build, I like the way this area looks. You can get a minifig in and out of the coaster pretty easily. Just have them sitting with the arms up. That is definitely a good way to approach it. The thing doesn't really come down. The protective bar doesn't come down unless the arms are up first. You've got your tenant that's operating the actual coaster. She comes with one of those little meter sticks. Maybe that would be helpful for her to know how tall or short certain kids are trying to get onto the coaster. That is always something that you see at theme parks. And then now I'm showing you the function for how you would change out the colors of the coaster. You can pull the whole track out itself. Well, you want to make sure that you pull the track out all the way so things match up properly. But there you go. All you have to do is pull one in, you can take the other color out if you want, or once again, hook up all 6, but I do think it runs a little bit smoother when you've got just 3 connected. And ultimately, I'd say the detailing for this part of the build works really well. I like those tiles turned on the side to make the little cautionary tape right at the edge. And this is a funny little detail, the seagull. Why are there always seagulls at theme parks? Is it because they've got water parks and they're attracted to the water? I swear you don't have to be close to the ocean, but you always got seagulls at theme parks. My personal theory is that they eat all of the leftover junk food. But seriously, this is a great little section of the park, and you can see down in the corner here, this is both the ticket booth and the photo booth. This was a really nice, simple way to combine 2 little aspects of the build. It fits in right underneath the track itself, so you can actually take it out and get a minifig in and out and just kind of admire this little fun build. I'll talk more about that when we get to the minifigs. And then this is probably the clearest view of the pathway. It's a self-contained pathway, meaning that depending on which direction you put the minifigs, they're either just walking out of the ride and maybe getting a photo, or they're perhaps waiting in line hoping to get on the ride. It really just depends, but it doesn't actually have a path that leads to the edge of the plates and actually outside of the set. It is kind of a lovely little spot though. It looks like there's a fun little dirt path, a fountain, some flowers, trees, and even a juice stand. This too can be pulled out from the set quite easily. Wonderful colors. I really like the juice stand. It's my favorite of any of the little kind of fun build details. Once again, I'll get into the closer details of that at the end when I go to the minifigs. And then this is a fun detail, just a sticker detail showing the height meter. And in case you're wondering, that green line is above where a average child minifigure normally stands. So the kids are actually too small to ride. And sorry, I couldn't get a better angle, but you can see how the pathway matches up to the stairs and then goes up to the loading area. Probably one of the most impressive parts of this set though is the smoothness in the way that the gears operate. I know I didn't say that well, but really the way this set is constructed is absolutely amazing in terms of how many different angled gears all match up and the distance that it crosses, both with the chains that pull the roller coaster up to the top and all the different angled Technic cross pieces that match up with joints. I mean, there really is a ton of places where if you didn't put it together just right, you'd have way too much friction and it would either be too hard to crank with your hands or just a huge strain on the motor. So that's super impressive that the actual motorized functions or any of the mechanical functions just work so incredibly smooth. It feels like butter when you're actually rotating the manual piece itself. In terms of the construction of the roller coaster, all the support beams, you can see it's a pretty simple and sort of standardized style. We get a ton of those kind of spiderweb pieces molded in flat silver, which I think is interesting. It probably, I feel like nobody would have batted an eyelash if they were molded in like bluish gray, but it's awesome that we get them in silver. And then everything else is, you know, the 2x2 cylinder pieces with a lot of jointed and clipped on areas that keep the columns interconnected and the whole structure feeling very solid. So outside of this structure area, there are a few other little fun details, kind of just little fun naturey aspects of the set. The construction for the trees is brand new. I like that we've got those Technic pieces in brown that just make up the long, thin trunk of the tree, and the foliage is that brand new leaf piece. I'll get into the cotton candy in a second, and then also here's a pond with a frog. I just wanted to show this shot of lifting up the set itself, being one of the largest sets that LEGO has made in terms of just general size. You'd think it might be really difficult to get there. All you have to do is make sure you get your hands under the two main center points and you can move it around quite easily. Into the city it goes, and I cleared out a bit of a spot in the city just so we could see it kind of with more of a built out background. And it's funny because I actually had a few false starts getting this thing after I moved it and I didn't know why, and that's because you can pick up the set quite easily, but there are a few points in the track that will just pop out of place ever so slightly. Not a big deal, but just remember to push down all of your bricks after moving this thing from one place to another. Something might be out of place. And personally, I think this coaster looks awesome with the backdrop of a city. And don't look at the other half of the city. The other half of the city is super ugly and really, really congested. But yeah, let's look back here. It looks great. And personally, I think it is one of the better looking motorized or automated moving function sets. I think I've got all of the main fairground sets, including the carousel, the Ferris wheel, and the whatever that spinner thing is, the one that is sort of attached to a truck. Anyways, those can all move around, and maybe the carousel I would probably put at my second favorite in terms of just a fun moving motorized function. But there's just something so mesmerizing about looking at this massive moving roller coaster. I really like it. Let's get into the minifigs. Like I said before, there are 11 in total, very, very colorful, and they come with 3 different stands or booths to operate. The first one, and certainly most unique here, is the cotton candy stand. That beehive piece that came out in the relatively recent city set has been molded now in pink with a pink minifigure head dipped into the top, which makes up a great shape for cotton candy. It really does look nice. That is, I believe, a new trans pink color for the mold for the umbrella piece at the top, which looks amazing. And as you can see, a child minifigure has trouble standing holding this giant cotton candy piece. It's just too heavy. Believe it or not, the cotton candy is too heavy for the child to hold unless you actually kind of change the way the kid has to be holding the candy over her head in order for it to work. The kid fig came with a tank top print with what looked like flowers or leaves or something printed onto the shirt. Pretty standard kid face print, short pixie style haircut, while the cotton candy attendant has a very cool blonde hairpiece that I think looks really, really nice. That is a special print that makes up the employee, I guess, cotton candy stand shirt, which makes her one of the most unique figs in the set for sure. Here we have the grandpa with a wonderful print that makes up a sweater, but by far his most unique feature is the print for his face. He's very, very happy and a little bit nervous here, and then he also has a scared face in case he wants to go onto the roller coaster. Really, really fun. And then my personal favorite sort of individual piece of the entire set in terms of just a fun build is this. It's the juice booth or the juice stand. There are lots of things to like here. First of all, the color combination is great with the light yellow, white, and the wonderful builds that make up what I believe are oranges and limes in the front. You can see the juice blender on one side, a couple of juicy drinks, and that sort of looped pattern along the top with the tiles really makes the top look amazing. It's a very fun build. You can easily take it out of the set, put it somewhere else in the park if you wanted to, and this is the nice old lady that seems to run the stand. She's wearing a pink kind of tank top. I like that hairpiece molded in white. And then here is a cool guy with a blue sweatshirt, green shirt, white pants, comes with a ticket in his hand, sunglasses, and nougat colored slicked back hair. This I would call the overenthusiastic dad. He comes with a sweatshirt, dark red shirt, dark orange molded pants, and possibly the best expression from the entire set. Not necessarily unique, but a really fun one. Absolutely necessary for the roller coaster. And then, like I said before, this is a closer look at the ticket/booth stand. There is a swivel chair in the center, so you can just turn the employee from one section to the next, depending on if he's helping somebody with the photos or if he's selling tickets to get onto the ride. The detailing is very, very simple though. It's awesome. The doors open up on either side, and there's some simple tile pieces that show maybe a register, a ticket, and then some pictures themselves that you can actually sell to the minifigs, showing them either really, really afraid or having a good time. Seagulls in the way. There's some fun little details to notice here. And then I like that the employee himself has a Lego logo on the back. There's plenty of figs that could just be just general employees, but I like the fact that it says Lego because you can put it into maybe a Lego store if that's what you're working on. I know that Lego's coming out very soon with another Lego store promotional set, so maybe that has something to do with that. The other employee has a very wonderful hairpiece and also a pretty good set of expressions. Here, this minifig has the kind of new hood piece with that sort of swirly decoration that goes along the front. I don't believe that's necessarily a new design, but definitely very recent. She's got a somewhat hesitant, nervous kind of expression, a somewhat hesitant smile, and then you can see why her alternate expression looks very scared. I don't know if she's too confident going on the roller coaster. Here we have is probably one of the most common creator prints for this female minifig. Short short blonde hair and an enthusiastic smile. And then last but certainly not least, in fact, probably several people's favorite fig is the Classic Space guy. He's got a pretty regular t-shirt with a Classic Space logo in the front, very short black hair that looks curly, and he too has a pretty wonderful expression if you wanted him to not have too good of a time on the roller coaster. So there it is. That is the entire set. This is a pretty fun one, I gotta say, guys. The main thing that I was sort of afraid of in the beginning was that I thought there was just gonna be too much friction with the gears, that if you cranked out the function manually, that it would be a really big pain. I've noticed that with some of the other creator sets, it can give you quite a bit of resistance for depending on what kind of function you want to do with the Ferris wheel or the creator carousel or something. Not too bad, but this one is the biggest set. I feel like it has the most geared angles. I feel like it has more places for it to get kind of crunched up in terms of too much friction, but at the end of the day, it is one of the easiest and smoothest functions. So that was a really, really fun, pleasant surprise. The actual motion of the coaster rolling through the pieces themselves is very, 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 very slick. And I think any problems that people would have with the set, or I think the number one detractor, so to speak, and probably also a reason why it's awesome, is the fact that it's huge. Most people aren't going to be able to find a spot for it. You're really going to have to dedicate a big chunk of your Lego area to this set. So depending on what your space conditions are like, that could be a really, really fun thing, sort of a giant eye-catching set that kind of rests in the middle of a fun play area. But if your digs are much smaller, then this is going to be the only thing that you can display. It really just depends. Personally, I mean, we've got a city, it's awesome, and this was totally on accident, but Lego did send this to us for review, and I don't know how, I don't know why exactly, but it looks like we might have gotten a second one. Haha, look for the update video. Are we gonna keep it? I don't know. Anyways, thanks again, Lego, for sending us this set and I guess a second one to review. And let me know what you guys think about this set in the comment section below. Do you think it's too big? Do you think it takes up too much space? Maybe you think it's not big enough. Who knows? I would love to hear what you guys think, though. And if you enjoy our content, you can always like or subscribe. And we'll see you next time at Brick Vault. Oh, hey everybody, hope you enjoyed that video. I just wanted to pop in really quick and say that we do have a web store, brickvault.toys, that sell instructions for super high quality MOCs that are built by incredibly talented designers. So that is the first link in the description below. And also there's other videos too. We've got other things if you want to watch that. All right, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time at Brick Vault.